Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle, just in case you didn't know, now you do. And today we're going to talk about why going up to a size 3X in plus sizes is not actually as inclusive as you think. So when brands decide we are going to change the world and suddenly make up to a size 3X and be inclusive. And yes, it's good that they are making more sizes. I'm not complaining about that. I'm not complaining at all. What I'm just saying is that we need to open our minds and our eyes to realize that stopping at a 3X is not inclusive. It's actually just saying that you're too fat for us and we don't want you to sit with us. And when they come out going, yes, we're gonna serve everybody now, we're so inclusive, they're not. They're basically lying to the world or deluding the world into thinking that a size 3X is the biggest you can be, and that's not true. There are fatter people in the world, and let's face it, part of the world's problem with people being fat is they don't want to see your fatness. But if the world doesn't want to make clothes for the people that are fat, then you're going to see a lot of naked fat people walking around the world. And so you're in a catch-22 here. You don't want to see me naked, but yet you don't want me to have nice clothes or clothes at all in my size. It doesn't work, that you have to pick one or the other. I can be naked or I can have clothes. And if you want me to be naked, fine, but at least give me a winter coat because I live in Canada. Traditional plus size brands who've been doing it for years, like Torrid and Penningtons, go up to a size 6X. And in my mind, I figure traditional plus size, if not an indie brand, let's say, who has much more control over the sizes they make because they can make them as they are ordered. So they make one sample in one size and then they can make the others as needed. And that's generally how those direct-to-consumer brands like Smart Glamour and things like that work. So traditional plus size, where they sell it in a store, they sell it online, high volume of product moves, in and out of their warehouses, in and out of their stores every day, they go up to a 6X. I think Lane Bryant also goes up to a 6X. Additional only just started selling 5Xs this year, or 2019. So these types of places, in my mind, a 6 or a 6X, depending on which store you're shopping in, is the top size. Now, if you suddenly want to serve those customers, then you really should be making all the way up to a 6X. Stopping at a 3X is kind of like a cop-out. You're saying okay, well, that's the biggest we want to go. We don't want to have really fat people wearing our clothes. It doesn't fit our look. We don't want those people to hang out with us. We don't really care about them. And yet you're spouting your inclusivity and how body positive you are, how you now serve everybody. There's a particular brand that I actually had to go through and block their ads. I had to go through and block their ads, and I had to block a few of their more prominent influencer people that I was following, but I was like, I can't take this mindset they're spewing of inclusivity when they're not inclusive at all. And no, I'm not going to tell you the brand because you know what, they could change their tune and start selling up to a 6X. One person was like, oh, now some styles come up to a 4XL. I'm like, so? A 4XL is really just a 2X. It's 2 sizes down. It's not inclusive at all. but they want you to think they are. So I figure if you're not going to go in whole hog with all the way up to a 6X, there's really no point in bothering at all. Just say, no, we want to stick with our sizes. Maybe in the future you could start an entirely separate line like Anthropologie did. They still only go up to a 28, but you know what? They started a whole separate line. Essentially, it's the same thing they would sell in their regular clothing line, but made for plus size bodies in the same feel and look of Anthropologie. Like, I don't particularly like the clothes, but that's just not my style, so, you know, you could do something like that where you call it something separate. You fit it, you sell it in stores, you sell it online, you have a really good influencer campaign, but you go up to a pretty large size. Generally, I can get away sometimes with wearing a 28, depending on the fit of it. I sometimes fit in a 4X, you've seen it in my try-ons. Mostly I wear a 5 or a 6, depending on the style. If I want it to be loose, I get a 6. If I want it to be fitted, I get a 5. Not that hard, right? Another thing with stopping at a 3X, it means that people at this larger size of your size range, so they wear a 3X or even a 2X sometimes, that means they can't size up for fit. So like I said, I wear a 5 mostly, sometimes a 4, sometimes a 6. You know, it's a range, right? Well, a 3X person won't be able to size up to get a better fit on something. They will just have to sort of take it or leave it. And you don't want them to leave it because you want to make money off of them. That's the whole point of having a plus size business. It costs a lot more money to make all of these sizes, and having to fit them on someone, having to then cut them and, you know, sew them, and getting a handle for how it should fit does take a while. However, if you are already going to make up to a 3X, why not continue on up to a 6X? That way it's done. You know how things are gonna fit, and it's not, you're sizing up from like a 1X or an extra large, or you're fitting for a plus size body and you're doing it all at once. It's gonna save you time and money by doing it that way, but also it means that if you go from a 0 to a size 6, so like a small or an extra small to a size 6, then that means that you can average out the costs amongst everything, so that maybe everybody pays a little bit more overall for equality reasons, and that way there isn't like a sign in the store that says when you're fat you pay more kind of thing, because I've seen that. It costs more money, but if you average it out across every single garment or across every size, then just collectively everybody pays a bit more, and there's no difference between a size 0 and a size 6. Now, I said this a bit before, but essentially, if you aren't gonna really give it a good try and do all the sizes and make sure that the majority of potential customers are going to be able to shop from your store, then what's the point in even doing it? It really is no point. The way I figure it is if brands like Universal Standard can make from size 0 or 00 all the way to a size 40, and just for your information, I wear a size 30 from there, so they have a lot more to go beyond that. If they can make that many sizes and do it well and fit it on every single person or every body type that fits into their clothes, then why can't a brand who's expanding from up to an extra large go from that to a 6X? If you're making the effort and you're adding plus sizes, then just make all the way to a 6X, because you're already doing it. Why not go all the way? That's really what it boils down to, is why not just go all the way instead of making a half-assed effort. That's my rant for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video. If you want to see more from me, leave me a comment. I don't know, do what you want. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!